cop sprayed a hose on a black woman for fun. What she pulled out made him beg for mercy. The summer sun beat down on Maple Grove like it owned the place. Sarah Mitchell stood in her front yard, tending to the pink petunias she'd planted that spring. At 52, she'd learned patience from years of nursing at County General. Every flower needed time. Every person deserved kindness. She heard the laughter before she saw them. Officer Dale Hart was down the street with his buddy from the force, showing off with the community outreach water safety demonstration. But something about his grin didn't sit right with Sarah. She'd seen that look before, the look of someone who thought rules didn't apply to them. Dale was 45 and had worn his badge for 20 years like it was a crown instead of a responsibility. Today, he was supposed to be teaching kids about fire hydrant safety. Instead, he was horsing around, spraying water at whoever walked by, laughing like he was still in high school. Sarah shook her head and went back to her flowers. Mind your business, she told herself. But then she heard him call out, "Hey, lady in the white shirt, hot day, isn't it? Let me cool you down." Before Sarah could turn around, a blast of cold water hit her square in the back. The force nearly knocked her over. Water soaked through her clothes, ruined her hair, drenched the Bible she'd set on the porch railing. She stood there, dripping, stunned. Dale was doubled over laughing. His partner looked uncomfortable but said nothing. The neighbors who'd been watching pulled out their phones. Some filmed. Some just stared. Sarah turned around slowly. Water dripped from her hair onto her face. For a moment she just looked at him, really looked at him. And Dale's laughter started to fade because something in her eyes made him remember he wasn't just a guy with a hose. He was an officer. And she was a citizen he'd sworn to protect. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, I was just—" he started. "You were just what?" Sarah's voice was calm, too calm. "Having fun?" She walked toward him, each step measured. The crowd grew quiet. Dale shifted his weight, suddenly aware that everyone was watching. Sarah reached into her soaked pocket and pulled something out. A badge holder. She flipped it open. Federal Judge Sarah Mitchell, Northern District. The color drained from Dale's face faster than water from a bucket. His partner actually stepped back. The phone cameras kept recording. "I want you to know something, Officer Hart," Sarah said quietly. "I've spent 30 years in courtrooms. I've seen good cops and bad cops. I've seen people who wear that uniform with honor and people who treat it like a joke." Dale tried to speak, but no words came out. "Every single day I make decisions that affect people's lives," Sarah continued. "And every single day I remember that power without responsibility is just cruelty dressed up nice." She looked at the hose in his hands, then back at his face. "You saw a black woman in her yard minding her business, and you thought it would be funny to humiliate her. You didn't see a fellow human being. You didn't see a professional. You didn't see someone's mother, someone's friend. You saw a target for your entertainment." The silence was so heavy you could hear the water still dripping from Sarah's clothes onto the pavement. "I'm not going to file a complaint," Sarah said, and Dale's shoulders sagged with relief too soon. "But not because you don't deserve one. Because I believe people can learn. I believe that shame, real shame, teaches better than punishment sometimes." She stepped closer to him. "Every time you put on that uniform from now on, Officer Hart, I want you to remember this moment. Remember how it feels to abuse your power over someone. Remember how it feels when you realize that person you dismissed might be the one who holds your future in their hands." Dale's voice cracked when he finally spoke. "Judge Mitchell, I am so sorry. Please, you never meant to get caught." Sarah corrected him gently. "That's different from never meaning to do harm." She looked around at the neighbors, at the phones still recording. "This young man made a mistake today, a serious one. But I've seen enough of life to know that good people can do thoughtless things. The question is what happens next. Does he learn? Does he grow? Or does he make excuses?" She turned back to Dale. "I want you to spend the next month volunteering at the community center, teaching real water safety to kids, showing them what it means to protect and serve, not performing for laughs, but genuinely helping people. Can you do that?" Dale nodded so hard it looked like his head might fall off. "Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor. I will. I promise. And I want you to think about why you did what you did today. Really think about it. Because until you understand that, you can't change it." Sarah picked up her drenched Bible from where it had fallen. The pages were ruined, but the words inside, well, those were written on her heart anyway. As she walked back to her house, she heard Dale behind her. "Judge Mitchell?" She turned. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for giving me a chance I didn't deserve." Sarah smiled then, the first real smile since the water hit her back. "Officer Hart, we all need grace sometimes. We all need someone to see past our worst moment to who we might become. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. It's what we learn when we've lived long enough to make our own mistakes and need forgiveness for them." 3 weeks later, Sarah drove past the community center. Through the window she could see Dale kneeling beside a group of children, carefully explaining how to stay safe around water. His face was serio. Us. Focused. There was no showing off, no performance. Just service. She pulled over and watched for a moment. One little girl tugged his sleeve and pointed at his badge. Dale smiled and took it off, let her hold it, explained what it meant to wear it. The responsibility, the trust. Sarah drove home feeling something she hadn't expected to feel that day. Hope. Hope that people could change. Hope that hard lessons, delivered with honesty instead of cruelty, could transform a life. That night her daughter called, from across the country. "Mom, you're trending on social media. Someone posted a video of you and that cop." Sarah laughed. "Of course they did. People are calling you a hero. I'm not a hero, baby. I'm just a woman who got wet and decided to use it as a teaching moment instead of a revenge moment. That's not heroic. That's just choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. Still, Mom, you could have destroyed his career." "And then what?" Sarah asked. "Would that have made him better? Or just bitter? We've got enough bitter people in this world. What we need is more people willing to learn from their mistakes." Her daughter was quiet for a moment. "I hope I'm like you when I grow up, Mom." Sarah smiled. "Honey, you're already better than me. You just don't know it yet." After she hung up, Sarah sat on her porch in the evening cool. The petunias had survived the day. So had she. So had Officer Hart, though he'd carried this day with him forever. Maybe that was okay. Maybe that was exactly what needed to happen. Sometimes mercy doesn't mean letting someone off the hook. Sometimes mercy means helping them understand why they were on the hook in the first place, and giving them the tools to climb off and become better. That was the lesson Sarah had learned in her 52 years. That was the wisdom she hoped Officer Hart would carry in his heart. Power with. Out compassion is tyranny. But compassion without accountability is just permission to hurt people again. The trick is finding the balance. And sometimes on a hot summer day in your front yard, life gives you a chance to show someone what that balance looks like, even if you have to get soaking wet to do it. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear about the power of grace and accountability. Subscribe for more stories that remind us of our shared humanity.